If you're over 60 and your erections aren't what they used to be, I really need you to hear this. Because the real issue might not be your age, it might be your food. Yes, I said food. Every day, millions of men over 60 are unknowingly eating things that slowly damage the blood flow and nerve function needed for a strong, lasting erection. Foods that seem harmless, even labeled as healthy, can quietly drain your performance, confidence, and closeness. I'm Dr. Mohit Kara, a men's health expert with over 30 years of experience helping older men restore their energy and function naturally. I've worked with thousands of men dealing with ED, and what we've found is surprising. Many of the foods we've trusted for years are actually making it harder for the body to perform. And here's the strange part. Most men who come into my office say they're eating better. They've cut down on sugar and avoid fried foods, yet their erections are getting worse. Why? Because they don't know about the hidden dangers in 5 common foods. Today, I'll show you those 5 unexpected troublemakers. Foods that silently raise your blood pressure, block your blood flow, and throw off your hormones. I'll also show you what to eat instead. By the end of this video, you'll know how to naturally take back control. And stick with me, because at the end, I'll share one simple habit my patients use every morning that often leads to stronger, longer lasting erections within just a few weeks. Before we get started, if you're serious about getting your strength and confidence back, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss solid, science backed health tips made just for men over 60. And if this message speaks to you, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 and tell me how I can better support your journey to better health. All right, let's dive in. Starting with the first and possibly most overlooked danger to your erections: high sodium foods. You might not think twice about that can of soup, those salty snacks, or your go to fast food fries. But the truth is, too much salt quietly raises your blood pressure, stiffens your arteries, and cuts off the blood flow needed for strong, lasting erections. Let me explain how this works and what you can start doing about it today. 1. High sodium foods, the hidden erection killers. I still remember one of my patients, Mark, 67 years old, a retired firefighter, a tough guy. He sat across from me, clearly uncomfortable, and said, "Doc, I don't get it. I quit smoking, I walk every morning, but things down there just aren't working like they used to." When I asked him about his meals, he proudly said he cut back on sugar and junk food, but he still had a couple of canned soups each day, and sometimes a frozen meal or two in the evening. That's when it hit me. Mark, like many older men, had fallen into a common trap. He thought he was eating healthy, but he was filling his body with salt. Here's the truth. High sodium foods are one of the quietest but most damaging enemies of a man's performance. Why? Because salt raises your blood pressure. And when that happens, your arteries get stiff. The tiny blood vessels that supply the penis, smaller than the ones in your heart, start narrowing. That means less blood flow where you need it most. And no matter how good you feel on the outside, your performance suffers when your circulation takes a hit. Most men don't realize how much salt they're eating. It's not just in the salt shaker, it's hiding in canned soups, frozen meals, deli meats, sauces, and even snacks that are called heart healthy. A single can of soup can have over 1,000 milligrams of sodium. Health experts say older adults should stay under 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams a day. If you're eating 2 or 3 salty foods daily, you're putting your blood vessels under pressure without even knowing it. And here's the thing, even slightly high blood pressure can noticeably reduce how firm and reliable your erections are. Your body might still respond, but it won't be as strong, steady, or satisfying. Over time, that inconsistency can lead to frustration, self-doubt, and pulling away from intimacy altogether. I've seen it happen way too often. The good news? The damage can be reversed. Within just a few weeks of cutting back on salt, many of my patients start noticing stronger morning erections and a boost in confidence. Start by reading food labels. Choose low sodium or no sodium options. Flavor your food with herbs, garlic, lemon, or spices instead of salt. And most importantly, try to cut out packaged and processed meals whenever you can. But salt is only the beginning. There's another ingredient hiding in your kitchen that might seem sweet and harmless, but it's secretly draining your energy. Let's talk about it next. 2. High sugar foods, the sweet saboteurs. Let me tell you about James, a 72-year-old retired teacher who came to me after months of feeling frustrated and distant in his marriage. He finally admitted that he hadn't been able to perform in the bedroom for almost a year. His voice shook as he said, "Doc, I feel like I've lost a part of who I am." What stood out most was that James didn't fit the usual picture of someone at risk. He wasn't overweight, didn't drink much, and stayed pretty active. But when I looked closer at his meals, one thing was clear. He had a big sweet tooth, morning muffins, afternoon cookies, and dessert almost every night. And like so many men his age, he thought, it's just a little sugar. How much harm can it do? The answer, a lot more than most men realize. High sugar foods are quiet destroyers of male vitality. They spike your blood sugar, raise insulin levels, and, over time, contribute to insulin resistance, a condition that leads to type 2 diabetes, nerve damage, and blood vessel deterioration. All of these directly impair your ability to get and maintain an erection. When your nerves can't fire correctly and your blood can't flow freely, your penis simply doesn't respond the way it used to. But there's another layer to the damage that sugar causes. It messes with your hormones. Excess sugar leads to increased body fat, particularly around the belly. And that belly fat doesn't just sit there, it actively converts testosterone into estrogen, slowly tipping the hormonal balance in the wrong direction. Less testosterone means weaker libido, softer erections, and less confidence overall. I've seen this pattern repeat itself with thousands of men. They cut back on sugar, and within a few weeks, their energy returns, their mood improves, their erections become firmer. One man told me, with tears in his eyes, that for the first time in years, he felt like himself again, all because he gave up soda and pastries. Now, I'm not saying you need to eliminate all sweetness from your life, but you must be smart. Avoid sugary drinks like soda and sweetened teas. Swap out desserts for fruit. Berries are especially good. Use cinnamon instead of sugar. And most importantly, check your labels. Sugar hides in sauces, dressings, even bread. The truth is, small changes can lead to big results when it comes to reclaiming your performance. But we're not done yet, because even if you've mastered your sugar intake, there's another enemy lurking in your meals, one that's clogging your arteries with every bite and stealing your erections from the inside out. Let's expose it next. I'll never forget Henry, a 69-year-old former mechanic with hands like tree trunks and a heart full of frustration. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "Doc, I still want to love my wife the way I used to, but my body just won't cooperate." Henry ate like many men of his generation. Big breakfasts with bacon and sausage, burgers for lunch, and steak for dinner. He didn't drink much, didn't smoke, and stayed relatively active. But his cholesterol was through the roof, and more importantly, his erections had become inconsistent, weak, and unreliable. This isn't uncommon. In fact, it's one of the most predictable patterns I see. High-fat foods, especially those rich in saturated fats and trans fats, slowly coat the inside of your arteries with plaque. It doesn't happen overnight. It builds up day by day, meal by meal, until one day there just isn't enough blood flow to fuel a strong erection. You see, the arteries in your penis are much smaller than those in your heart or brain. That means erectile dysfunction is often the very first sign of serious cardiovascular issues. Your body is whispering a warning. Ignore it, and it may soon start shouting. Fatty meats, full-fat dairy, fried foods, creamy sauces. These comfort foods come at a steep price. They thicken your blood, harden your arteries, and increase inflammation. Over time, they starve your pelvic region of oxygen rich blood. And when that happens, even desire can't make up for what your circulation can't deliver. But here's what's powerful: you can reverse it. I've seen men in their 70s who switched from fatty meats to lean proteins like fish, turkey, and legumes. And within weeks, they noticed firmer erections and increased stamina. One man even told me, "It's like someone turned the lights back on in my body. Your arteries want to heal. You just have to give them the chance." Start by cutting back on red meat, especially cuts with visible fat. Choose grilled or baked options over fried. Replace heavy creams with olive oil and avocado. Incorporate more fiber from vegetables and beans to help flush out the old and make room for the new. Your erections depend on clean, flexible arteries, so treat every meal like an investment in your manhood. Now, you might be thinking, okay, doc, I'm watching my salt, my sugar, and my fat. What else could possibly be hurting me? I wish I could stop there, but there's one more thing millions of men consume weekly, sometimes daily, that seems harmless, even relaxing, but is slowly tearing apart their hormone balance and sexual performance. And it's sitting in your fridge right now. Let's talk about it next. I remember a man named Tom, 74, who came into my office one afternoon with a mix of humor and worry in his voice. He joked, "Doc, I've had more beers than birthdays, but now I can't rise to the occasion anymore." He laughed, but his eyes told a different story. For decades, Tom had enjoyed his nightly beers, 2 or 3, sometimes 4, thinking it helped him unwind, maybe even helped him feel a little looser in the bedroom. What he didn't realize was that his favorite habit had been slowly turning against him. Alcohol, especially beer, is one of the most underestimated threats to male sexual health. Sure, in small amounts, it can help you relax and lower anxiety, which sometimes helps with performance. But when it becomes a regular habit, the damage begins to compound. Alcohol is a depressant, and while it might calm your nerves in the short term, it gradually impairs the nervous system, disrupts hormone production, and restricts blood flow. All three essential for a healthy erection. Beer in particular contains compounds that mimic estrogen in the body. And for older men, that's a dangerous game. Your testosterone is already naturally declining with age. Add in alcohol's estrogenic effect, and what you get is a hormonal imbalance that blunts your desire, lowers your drive, and softens your erections. Over time, alcohol also damages the liver, an organ critical to hormone processing and regulation. Men like Tom often tell me they didn't realize the connection. "It never occurred to me that my beer could be the reason I'm not performing," he said. But the link is clear. Heavy drinking dulls the nerves, stiffens the arteries, and disrupts the delicate balance that keeps a man functioning at his best. Here's what I tell my patients: you don't have to give it up completely, unless you want to, but you do have to be intentional. Limit alcohol to no more than 10 to 14 drinks a week. If you enjoy a drink now and then, choose something with fewer negative effects, like a glass of dry red wine or a clean cocktail with soda water and lime. And more importantly, take breaks. Give your body time to recover, especially if you're working to restore your sexual health. The truth is, no one wants to believe their glass of beer or evening drink is part of the problem. But once you connect the dots, it's empowering, because it means you have a choice. Tom made that choice, cutting back over time, and he noticed a real change, not just in performance, but in clarity, energy, and confidence. But alcohol isn't the only hidden enemy lurking in your kitchen. There's a category of food that many men eat every single day: quick, convenient, and packaged for your busy life, that might be doing more harm to your manhood than you ever imagined. Let's uncover it next. One of the hardest conversations I ever had was with a man named Walter. He was 70, widowed, and had recently started dating again. He came into my office visibly frustrated. "Doc," he said, "I finally found someone I care about again, but my body isn't keeping up with my heart." He was eating what he called a simple bachelor diet: sandwich meats, canned chili, frozen dinners, crackers, and snack bars. Easy, fast, no cleanup. He thought he was making smart choices by skipping fast food and sweets, but he didn't realize that processed food was slowly undoing all the progress he was trying to make. Processed foods are one of the sneakiest threats to a man's performance. They seem harmless, even helpful. Just heat and eat. But inside that convenience is a harmful mix of salt, chemicals, unhealthy fats, fake additives, and added sugars. These things don't just affect your weight, they hurt your blood flow and your nervous system, both of which are key for strong erections. The meats in most prepackaged sandwiches like bologna, salami, sausages, and hot dogs are filled with preservatives and salt that harden your arteries and slow blood flow. Packaged snacks like crackers and chips might seem small, but they often contain bad fats that irritate your blood vessels. And microwave meals? They usually have more salt than you should eat in an entire day, in just one serving. Over time, these foods cause a slow but steady decline in your sexual health. Blood vessels tighten, nerves react less, testosterone drops, and soon, intimacy feels like pressure instead of pleasure. Men like Walter blame getting older, but it's not just age. It's what we put into our bodies as we age that makes the real difference. The good news is you can turn things around fast. I've seen men switch to cooking with fresh ingredients and eating real foods like fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains, and in just a month or two, their energy came back, their erections improved, and their confidence returned. Walter made the switch, started making simple meals with real ingredients, and a few months later he told me, "Doc, I feel like I got a second chance." Processed foods are quiet destroyers because they don't cause instant pain, but they slowly take away your health, meal by meal, year after year. The moment you stop feeding the problem, your body begins to repair itself. Now that we've talked about the worst foods, the real question is, what should you eat? What kind of food not only stops the damage, but actually builds your strength, your blood flow, and your performance? The answer is in a time-tested way of eating that has helped thousands of men feel young again. Let me show you. After years of helping men over 60 with sexual health problems, one thing is clear to me. The body heals when you feed it right. I've seen it over and over again. Men who thought their best days were over found new energy, new confidence, and better erections, just by changing what they eat. The Mediterranean diet is my top choice for men at this stage in life. It's not a fad or a strict plan, it's a way of eating that's both enjoyable and long-lasting. It's been proven to support heart health, balance hormones, and improve sexual function. It's full of fresh vegetables, fruits, olive oil, whole grains, nuts, seeds, beans, and lean meats like chicken and fish. What makes it powerful isn't just what's in it, but what it leaves out: junk food, too much sugar, and harmful fats. This way of eating lowers inflammation, boosts blood flow, and helps keep your testosterone strong, all key for firm, lasting erections. And it's not about being perfect, it's about sticking with it. One of my patients, Richard, made a few small swaps: olive oil instead of butter, a salad at lunch, grilled salmon instead of fried pork. And in 6 weeks, he said he was waking up with morning erections again, something he hadn't felt in years. When you use food like medicine, your body responds in ways no pill ever could. But here's the truth: knowing what to eat is just part of the journey. Real change happens when you mix a healthy diet with one simple daily habit that boosts blood flow and brings back your energy, even in your 70s or 80s. Let me show you what that is next. I've stood beside thousands of men who believed their best years were gone, until they made a few powerful changes. Cut the salt, the sugar, the processed and fatty foods, cut back on alcohol, eat fresh, real food. These aren't just diet tips. They're steps to getting back your energy, your confidence, and your strength as a man. I've seen men cry with relief, joy, even hope. Men who thought it was too late. It's not. Your body is ready to respond. Start today. Feed it right, and it will thank you in the ways that matter most.